Hi, I'm Cynthia Nixon. I wanted to say that if you have a one-person show that you're working on, please submit it to United Solo. The New York theater scene is an amazing, diverse, varied, and welcoming one, and we would want to have your show here. Please submit it. The most difficult thing about being a writer must be having the discipline to sit down and write every day. But the most difficult thing about being an actor is that you can't act by yourself all alone in a room with no one there. I mean, you can, but that's not really acting, right? At best, that's rehearsing. You need someone to hire you and cast you in a role. And the exception to that is a one-person show that you can write for yourself, whether it's a story about your own life, or whether it's a completely fictional character that you make up, or a series of fictional characters that you want to show off your acting chops about all the different people you can become in front of our eyes with no makeup or costume change. So I think in some ways, a one-person show is ideally suited to a fledgling performer who, has not yet, been cast in a bunch of things. And then, the tricky thing about it is, of course, some actors are natural writers and some are not. So I think if you're an actor with a talent for writing, terrific. But if you're not, I think a thing to do is to team up with someone or can meet who is a writer, who has a story they want to tell. And because you can be a writer by yourself, but you can't really be a playwright by yourself, because the other part of being a playwright is getting to finally see your work up on its feet. And so in some ways it can be an ideal marriage for two young people who have not yet completely found their way in the world of theater to work on a one-person show together. I think that a solo show takes a particular kind of confidence because you are all alone out there, and because you are reaching out to the audience in a way you wouldn't in another kind of a play, and you literally don't have anywhere to look other than your audience. You can't look into the face of another actor. You can't, you're not pretending to be in a scene where you don't notice the audience. The audience is there, and they're your friends, hopefully, and they're your enemies if it's not going well. There is something really wonderful about film festivals and theater festivals, and us gathering to be introduced to each other's work, or if we already know each other's work, to be introduced to each other personally. I think there is enormous power that comes from it, and enormous creativity that can come from it. And I think sometimes, those of us toiling in the vineyards feel like, oh, does anybody notice what I'm doing? And I think bringing people together in festivals to say, hey, I saw your show last night. It was amazing. How did you think of doing such and such? I think it's it's exciting for audiences, of course, to see a whole bunch of different movies or shows or one-person shows all stacked up against each other. But it is particularly exciting also for the performers themselves, I think.